Peace and joy, guys. Welcome back to another video, Drumheller Farms. And hey, today is Friday, so I want to take you along and I'm going to show you what I've been doing for the weekends. Show you how I've been setting myself up on the weekends to do as little as work as possible and help speed things up a little bit for me. God darn it. I tell you what, guys, these pigs, they have been a pain in my butt the last couple days. They've eaten all their feed out of their feeder, have knocked it over and knocked it into the net fence, and have escaped from the other paddock that I wanted to keep them in until today. I didn't get a chance to seed that like I normally do, and they've just been a big pain in the butt. And then she thinks she's herding them now because I let her help me wrangle them all up. So here's what's happened, guys. I had my trailer out here. I was going to take a couple of them to the processor, and there's actually a way that you can get a good idea of how big and how much they weigh, and it's a length times a girth test. So you basically wrap a tape measure right around their shoulder area, and then you take a measurement from their ears to their tail and you times those by each other. And then that will tell you roughly how much they weigh. And I thought I had a couple that were ready, and I've got a couple that are close. You can see here I even put a little red dot, a red mark on this guy, because I thought he'd be one of the ones. And he's close, but he probably needed about another 60 pounds before I take him in. I like to get him real close to 300 pounds. And they were only about 240. Baloo, enough. Get out of here. Come on. Come on. Look, they're not even afraid of you. Look at her running around in circles, thinking she's doing something over here. She did help me the other day, and I told her good girl, and that's what her problem is. Hey, get out of here. All right, guys, I'm going to show you what I've been doing to get myself set up on the cattle. That's what I'm trying to show you here. So stick around with me. I appreciate you watching. Let's go. All right, I finally got the dang dog out of there. You can tell these guys are just relaxing. They got a ton of forage out here that they've been eating on the last couple days, and they are loving life. But it won't be more than a couple days, and it's probably going to look like this paddock over here, which has not been a big issue because I've been able to seed. Their last day in the paddock, I throw seed and let them stampede it in the ground. And I didn't get that opportunity here because there was a bunch of them running all around the paddocks, and it just made sense to move them at that point. All right, guys, hey, no meat birds out on pasture right now. We've got about 50 or so turkeys, and we've got our egg layers up there, but currently no meat birds on chicken or out on pasture. And that's the first all summer, man. And I'll tell you, it feels good to have a break, but we're not quite done yet. I got a half batch coming, 125, and we're going to run them out the rest of the year. They're in the brooder, and we've got about 5 days before they're going to be put out on pasture. So we'll be getting them out next week, and we'll be back to the grind, raising our last batch of meat birds this year. All right, guys, out here at the sheep pasture, we are at the end of this field. They were in here hammering on this barnyard grass when I moved them into this first paddock here. It was pretty fun to watch. You can see they stripped a lot of the leaves off of this stuff. And I don't think they like to get in there because there's a little wet area right there. Actually, it's kind of like a natural spring that has popped up out of the ground over the last few years. But they stripped a lot of the nice fat leaves that this barnyard grass has on it. When this stuff is young, boy, it's some killer feed for cattle. They love it. But as it's dried out down here, you can see they've worked that over even more. But I'm gonna open them up to this last paddock. This is the last paddock of the field, and I'm already set up on the far side. We're gonna go back to where we started, and this field here is right about somewhere around 4.5 or so acres. And we have been running these sheep on this 4.5 acres all summer. I've been moving them when you can see the grass looks like this. Really good stuff. We're still, 6, 8, maybe even 10 inches tall in some areas. That one's probably more like 12 inches. And we're gonna go back where we started, and it's some beautiful stuff. It's absolutely beautiful. Sheep, small sheep, small sheep, small sheep. Sheep are really fun. This is our first year raising sheep. There's 16 of them here. We definitely have room to increase our flock of sheep. We are gonna increase them. It's just gonna be a matter of, finding producers. I'm not looking at getting into the lambing business just yet. At this point, I think we're able to find young lambs, early spring, that are lambed in the, February, roughly March time frame. And one person in particular, we got these sheep from. These have never been wormed. I've never wormed them. They all look like they're very healthy. And I think we're gonna see, a really good relationship between myself and the other this producer that we're getting these from. He is planning on increasing his herd as much as possible. She's a pretty young lady, to accommodate what we need. So I think we can easily run triple, quadruple the amount of sheep as we are right now with absolutely no problem in keeping this our sheep field. All right, guys, out here at the cattle. Now remember, this is September, what is this, the 14th. Guys, take a look at this forage that we're working with. Boy, that's some beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. We got some good alfalfa here, some Timothy, some orchard. Really good stuff, and the cattle are showing great signs. This past week I have changed a little bit of grazing method here, just kind of mixing it up a little bit, leaving maybe another inch or two of grass in the paddocks. We don't have very many growing days left. We need some rain bad. It's been a few weeks here since we've had any rain, and man, we need some pretty bad. And you can see, they've already been in this side of the paddock. I got about 8 inches here of grass left, and I'm doing that because we don't have a lot of grazing days left. So my thought is, if we can get a shot of rain and we can get a couple more weeks of growth out of this, it's going to be a huge advantage to leave just a little bit more, so we have a little more on it'd be our third rotation here. And some of you guys are probably saying, oh, it's been a few weeks since you've had a rain, and I know that doesn't sound like much to some of you people I've heard down in southern Indiana. You guys are hurting down there, and a lot of other places as well, and you're looking at forage like I've got right here in the field, and you're thinking, man, you're being selfish. I mean, you got forage up to your hip, almost to your waist, beautiful green grass, and you're right. We've gotten a little spoiled here this year. It's been a beautiful year for us. But I got a word for you guys before we get started here, and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing on what I have been doing on all my weekends here. I got a word for you, and it comes from the 3rd chapter of Daniel, starting in verse 16. Now, let me give you a little quick backstory here about what's going on. The king at the time has made a decree that any time music's played throughout the city, the town, whatever, everybody has to get down on their knees and worship this big golden statue that he has put forth to, I don't know, I guess to stroke his own ego, I guess would be what I would say. And there's three guys, Jewish boys, and they don't agree with it. Okay, their names are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they're saying, yeah, nah dog, we ain't gonna worship your stupid idols. And the king says, listen, if you guys ain't gonna worship this idol that I set up, this decree that I made in my kingdom, then I'm gonna throw you guys in this fiery furnace. And that's where I pick up right here at verse 16. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. I love that. You know, they show him some respect, say, O king, live forever. We got no need to even answer you in this matter. But if that is the case, our God, so if that is the case that you're going to throw us into this furnace, okay? If that is the case, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the fiery furnace. And he will deliver us from your hand, O king. Now here's where it gets good, and here's where I think some of you guys need to hear this, okay? Some of you people that are in a drought right now and you're wondering what's going to happen. Right here it says, but even if not, even if our God doesn't deliver us, let it be known, O king, that we do not serve your God, nor will we worship your golden image that you have set up. Now, if you continue to read that story, King Nebuchadnezzar was furious. And I just love the fact that these three boys said, listen, our God is going to deliver us. God is going to deliver us from this drought, right? God's going to deliver us from this fiery furnace, right? But even if he doesn't, let the record be known. We ain't never served your stupid golden God. We serve one God, and that is the God of creation. Glory to God. So I hope that was for somebody out there today. I felt like I needed to share that. And, you know, just let it be known, man. You know, times come in life, and things are tough. I know things are tough for a lot of people out there right now. But, man, just declare it, decree it. Ain't going to serve no other God. God's going to bring the rain. God's going to bring the storms. And he's going to see us through. So, hope that makes some sense for you guys. All right, back to the video. The whole reason why I decided to make this video today is because what I've been doing the last probably month or so, you guys know we got a farm hand. He comes out here on the weekends. He moves the chickens, moves the egg layers, moves the turkeys, takes care of pig chores, does all that stuff. And it's still my responsibility to move the cattle. Ain't nobody messing with my cattle. It's not that I don't trust that he can do it, but well, actually, yes, it is. It is that. The biggest thing is this, all right? I'm still learning a lot about grazing. Anybody that's grazing cattle, you know, this is an art form. And I love it. So what I've been doing, I've been coming out here on a Friday, and I set up enough paddocks to get me through all the way till Sunday. All right, so I don't have to do anything. When all I gotta do is I gotta come out here, I move the water, I take down a fence, and let them move to the next section. And if I'm real busy and I got something going on, I don't even worry about pulling the fence down. I'll do it on Monday or whatever. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you. I pile up about 50 or so posts in my hand, and I set up fences. I already got one fence that's set up. All right, so I got a little bit of a cheat job here already. I did that the other day, just had a little extra time. I got another fence set up because I'm at the end of the field here. And I thought about shying and giving them this whole field, but when we get back to the back of this field, you're gonna see there's a ton of forage in here. So it's gonna be a little tight up front here. So it's gonna be a little less forage. But when we hit the back of that field, you're gonna see there's just an absolute ton of forage. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move them late Saturday night, simply because they got just some beautiful stuff here. So I hope that makes some bit of sense to you guys. And then I think I'm gonna set up a paddock over here because we're gonna be switching fields, and we'll be all set over there as well. A couple of you guys have asked about our buggy setup, about how we run our gators. This is nothing super special, all right? I like the simplicity of my setup. I thought about building a rack up here, and I don't know, I just don't feel like it's necessary. We hang all of our spools right on this factory doohickey that they got right on their John Deeres. Any leftover spools I'll put up here. This is a accessory that you can get for the John Deere, the front rack. Sometimes I'll even put some posts in here and put a band around them if needed. Right now I got a hose in here. This is not always in here, but there's one there. I got a garbage bucket that's always right there. I got several buckets here for when we're taking feed out of the grain bins, and that is enough to fill up for the egg layers, the turkeys, and the meat chickens, mostly at all times. I've got this little wooden divider that is connected back here. It's got another brace up front there. That's kind of keeping all of my sticks in one spot. All right, you can see what I got going on here. I got that resting on the fence. I got a strong angle so that it pulls that way as I'm pulling it, because if it goes back off of that handle back there, this handle is going to get caught in that fence and it's going to stop me. And there's nothing more irritating than getting halfway down there and you go to pull and you can't get anything out of it. So that's very, very frustrating. You don't want that to happen. So I'm also going to grab another spool with me, so that way on my way back I can hook up and I can bring that fence back with me. All right, so my hands are going to be full. I got about 20 sticks in my hand, and I'm going to have a spool, plus I'm pulling one, plus I'm going to try to take you guys along with me, so that I can show you what the forage looks like in the back of this field, and we'll just see how well this all works out. All right guys, so this is kind of a cool little case study here. You can see we didn't hit this back area quite as hard on first rotation, right? You can see a lot of stems that you don't see in any of our other fields. There's just a lot of, get some seed down here. There's just a lot of leftover grass. Odd thing about that is there's not a ton more forage back here, okay? There's a little more matter, but there's not as much really good edible forage like you see in the rest of the field that we have non-selectively grazed. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is some good forage here and there's some good green grass and it's a good leaf content. But there's a lot of brown stuff down here too that you just don't see in the other parts of the field that we non-selectively grazed. So, I mean, again, guys, another reason why I believe the non-selective grazing, for my operation at least, is just the far best way to go to manage my grass on my farms. It's just changed everything. I mean, if I walk over here, I know I've already showed you this with the cattle, but if I walk over here to where they just came out of, looks like somebody just mowed it at like 6 inches high. They've eaten everything. There's no grass out there that they didn't eat. So what's that mean? Well, it's giving an even platform for all grasses to compete with one another to grow. So in a selective grazing situation, even if we were doing a eat a third, leave a third, trample a third, what we're going to end up doing is they're going to eat all the grass they like, and all the grass they don't like is going to flourish, right? So it just makes sense, right? I mean, I seen one guy on YouTube here. Every single time he's moved his cattle this year, he's came behind them and mowed, and I just don't get it. I haven't brought my bush hog out in 2 years, guys. 2 years. Now, I'm not saying that that's always going to be the case, but look at the fields. There's no weed pressure. There's no weed pressure. What do I need to bush hog? I don't need a bush hog. And if you non-selectively graze, you're not going to be left with all of this stuff that, you know, maybe somebody could have justified me mowing those. But this is just in this one section. I mean, none of the other farms look like this. None of them. They all look like beautiful leaf green grass. Guys, it's just amazing. It's just amazing what non-selective high density grazing has opened my eyes to, and what's possible on your land that I never thought was possible. That's when you know you've given your cattle enough to eat for the day. They're over there. Ain't nobody said a word. If they were hungry, they'd be hooting and hollering and everything else. I've only heard that a couple times this year. That's because I pushed them a couple times. Other than that, these cattle, they're not hungry. I'll let them over into this paddock. They're gonna eat. They're definitely gonna go after it. But they're not hungry. And that's the beauty of getting that paddock size down, and also currently leaving them a little bit more behind. Leaving them a little bit more behind than what I have been doing. That's just because we're approaching the end, guys. Last year I was on set growing some great stockpile grass, and I came out here, I think it was September 23rd, it's the third week of September, and I had a frozen hose 2 mornings in a row. Was not expecting it. Came out here to move cattle, and I go, well, I ain't getting no water. What's going on? What's going on with the water? Is there no power? What's happening? Frozen hose. Third week of September. Guys, that's approaching. We're in the second week right now. So 1 more week from today, 2 hard freezes basically stopped our winter stockpile growth. I think more historically, it's probably, you know, second week of October, first week of October or something like that before a heavy killing frost. But right now I'm at our halfway fence. You guys know it's actually about the 40% fence. I'm giving them about 40% overnight and about 60% throughout the day. And that's because they sleep at night. They don't graze as much at night. And so what I do in the morning is I come up here and all I got to do is I got to take this fence down. It gives them access to the remaining 60% of the field and still gives them access to their water on this side of the field. I've got frost freeze running every 300 to 400 foot down there. So that's what's happening here, guys. Let's move some cattle. Come on. Come on. Look at that big boy. It's actually not very big, but he's a dude. He's ripped out. Great temperament. Guys, stick tuned to the channel because I'm going to give you my thoughts on seed stock, buying cattle, and increasing herd sizes. So that's going to be probably one of my next videos coming up here. And I'll just say this, I hope I never have to buy cattle ever again. All right, guys, just like that, in about 45 minutes, I've putting up, what, 4 fences, taken down 1 fence. I'm good for basically 3 days. So, you know, all I gotta do this weekend, come out here in the mornings, take down a halfway fence, in the afternoons, put up a halfway fence, which I could do in the morning. And all I gotta do is move them to the other side. So it's really set up, ready to go. I've been doing that now for probably about the last month, and I'm really happy with it. It's been able to free my weekends up. You know, we're getting towards the end of summer. At the beginning of summer and the spring, there's no way I'd have time to do that. I'd have to take full advantage of the weekend and just work from sun up till sundown. But you know, like Sundays, I can go to church. I don't have to stress out about having to do chores. Got a farm hand coming on the weekends, doing a lot of the smaller stuff, and I can come out here, move cattle, and just focus on the Sabbath day, man. Take a day of rest. So just look at that fat cattle right there. My goodness, she is fat. We got finished steers in here. This guy over here is starting to finish out really well. We've been harvesting about 6 a month out of this herd for the last few months. And summer is coming to an end. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, hit that subscribe button. Man, like the channel if you're already subscribed. Like this video. That really helps get things going, gets other people seeing the channel, and gets the subscriber count up. So I appreciate it. God bless you. All right, down here at the heifer farm, trying to finish grazing off the rest of this farm. Got some good looking heifers down here. I'm pushing them. I've been pushing them this summer. They're staying in pretty good shape. You can see lots of weeds here. So I would say I'm pushing them pretty hard. I'm gonna give them the rest of this paddock and probably bring down some hay in 2 days. I think they can get 2 days out of what's left here. And then I won't mess with moving them tomorrow. See ya.